What is going on, everybody? The first round of the NFL draft is in the books, and what a first round it was, and what a live stream that was, man. Just coming off just such a fun night, man. Thank you, everybody who joined the live stream. I know you got other options to consume this draft, so I appreciate you spending that time with me. And just the views, the super chats, the comments, everything. Your support was amazing. Hope you guys are going to come back as well for tomorrow, day 2 and 3. So many good players left. And even Saturday, we're going to be live all day for that thing. So I'm going to do this first round grade video a little bit differently. Normally I stay up till 5 in the morning, get the graphics done, the full video edit, you name it. This year, I'm going to pace myself a little bit. I'm going to conserve some energy. I barely slept all week getting ready for this thing, and that draft was epic. That stream was epic. So I'm going to be honest. I'm going to conserve some energy here. We're going to do this as a screen capture recording type of deal because NFL Network actually has a nice little grading system that we can go through and grade all these picks. So a nice little aesthetic there. It'll allow me to catch up on some sleep and get re-energized. And then when I do my final draft grades, you'll get the full breakdowns with the highlights and my grades on all the players and all the, projected rounds and all of those great graphics that I normally do for the draft. That stuff will all be coming after the draft. But I also wanted to give kind of my reactions to these draft picks, removed from the live environment, the emotional reactions kind of removed. Start to see these teams plan a little bit more, see how the draft is actually going to play out. So let's regrade every pick in the first round. The Trevor Lawrence pick, obviously an A. Best quarterback in a long time. You're able to draft him. And the consensus opinion here. This is also cool as we get to see the consensus opinion. This is going to be a different look than what we normally do for this video. Then Zach Wilson, also going to be an A. Clear-cut number 2 quarterback in this class. Can't imagine people disagree. Wow, a lot of people. A lot of Justin Fields truthers out there, man. That's crazy. This was the clear-cut pick. It was the clear-cut pick in January. I'm stunned to see that it is not a consensus. Excellent pick. I disagree very strongly. That is an A for me. And then Trey Lance. This I would actually give an A+ if I could. Just the process of being able to trade up and get that upside at quarterback that they just haven't had. You could debate if this should have been Fields, and I can imagine people are going to disagree with this if they didn't like Wilson at 2. And there you go. Only 22% give this one an A. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think they could have gone with Lance or Fields, and it would have been an A for me. And they did not go with Mac Jones after all of the conversation there. And I love the move. You get, to me, a player that I'm just going to say I think he has a good chance of having a Hall of Fame career there with Kyle Shanahan and those pieces. They're going to be insanely explosive. And a lot of people were asking me, what do they do with Jimmy? I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the block. I think that they are going to start Jimmy for a little bit, see if Trey Lance can get up to speed. And if he can't, I think they're more than happy to play Jimmy for a year. And then get Trey Lance up to speed. And maybe by the end of the year he is starting. Maybe not. Who knows? Regardless, the future is looking bright with Trey Lance in position. Then Kyle Pitts. Again, you get the best player in the draft at 4. You just let him drop right in your lap there. Pretty easy A pick across the board here. These top 4 picks are all what I would have done. And consensus agrees there, 63%. Really excited to see him in those 12 personnel formations, with Arthur Smith coming over from Tennessee, and try to get back to elite offense in Atlanta. Then the Cincinnati Bengals. This one, to me, if I could give this a TBD, giving it a B grade here, it's to be determined is the way I'm going to grade this. I have a couple of these where it's like, if they execute in the second round, miraculously, Tevin Jenkins and Samuel Cosmi are available. So if you can land those guys in the second round, to me that justifies Jamar Chase at 5. Now, if they are stubborn and they think that they can go with Riley Reiff at right tackle and they're going to throw Joe Burrow out there behind this this offensive line that very well still may be the worst in the league, that's inexcusable to me, even though Jamar Chase is so good. So TBD, I think the process-wise, it's a good pick. You hope that you can figure out that offense later. You take the best player available, which in this case was Jamar Chase, who has that chemistry with Joe Burrow. I think he's got a really good chance of working out here, but they have to execute this. this could turn into an A pick in my final grade if they're able to get, say, Tevin Jenkins or Samuel Cosmi. So there is the selection there, and a lot of people think it's an excellent pick. Very fascinating. Now, the Miami Dolphins. This was the first pick where I was really scratching my head. So they take Jalen Waddle here, and Dolphins fans are definitely sick of this, where I just don't really give this team the benefit of the doubt with Tua here. And to me, I don't really love his fit here with the 6th pick after you gave up a first-round pick to come up here. Yes, I understand it was part of a 3-team trade, but you did not need to do that. And in this offense, with Tua as your quarterback, as you just signed you have Devontae Parker, but you signed Will Fuller. Let's be honest here. Jalen Waddle is going to be a screen and slants player for you in year one, in the year where you're trying to figure out if Tua can play. He's not even going to be a full-time starter for you. That's a crowded receiver room. And I love Jalen Waddle. He's my number 2 receiver. But I love him in a situation with an open offense, right? Where they're going to just blow up the field and get vertical and use that combination of his catch and run ability with that vertical threat. I don't see it happening. And you know who knew that when this pick happened? Jalen Waddle. You never want to look too far into this. But look, man, Jalen Waddle did not exactly look happy to be back with Tua Tagovailoa. This is the same receiver that when they asked him which quarterback is better, Mac Jones or Tua, in a heartbeat, he said Mac Jones without hesitation. There's something there. And I think Jalen Waddle knows that he's not going to be utilized the way that he can be in this offense. So I think the value's fine. I think Jalen Waddle's a phenomenal receiver. He's a top 10 player in this class, and maybe you eventually let Will Fuller go and Tua develops into that deep threat. To me, and I called my shot on Miami's draft class that last year that was wildly underwhelming, and it ended up being wildly underwhelming. I'm going to do this again. Now, I think it's between a C and a D, so it's either a C- or a D+. I'll just be nice to Dolphins fans and go with the C here, but I think it would be a C-. I'm not going to say it can't work out, but man, I would have much rather they just stayed put at 12 and seen what happened there, because I just don't think you're going to get the value returned of giving up a first-round pick and spending that 6th-round pick when Penei Sewell is available, by the way, and that offensive line ain't looking too shabby at this point in time. And maybe they get one of those top tackles, but not a fan. Not a fan of this pick at all. But, of course, people agree with the speed at receiver and banking on Tua to reunite things with Waddle. This was such a slam dunk pick. Penei Sewell to the Lions. They want a kneecap biter, right? I didn't think Sewell would be available. I thought either Cincinnati or Miami was going to take him. To get him paired with Dan Campbell, one of the best blocking coaches in the league, I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked to see what Penei Sewell can do with this unit. They're going to play him at right tackle, in my opinion, unless you decide to kick, what's his name? Taylor over to right tackle. This offensive line is very quickly becoming one of the best in the league, and they're going to be one of the most well-coached. If you don't have DeAndre Swift on your fantasy radar, I think he has top 5 fantasy running back potential because of how much they're going to run the ball, how talented I think he is, and how good the blocking is going to be here. So a slam dunk pick. What a way to kick off the Dan Campbell regime for the Lions. That is how you build a new culture, and consensus agrees there. Okay, J.C. Horn to the Panthers. This one was fascinating. It was kind of the first truly surprising pick. And I'm a little bit lower on Horn. He's technically my 4th corner now. Asante Samuel was always going to be kind of a scheme-dependent type of selection with his size. And also you've got the injury concerns on Caleb Farley. So in a way, for them to pick J.C. Horn over Patrick Surtain, I get it. I'm going to give it a B. I gave it a B- in my live reaction. I wouldn't really change that all that much. It's solid. They need corners. I understand it entirely. But at some point, it's like, it's not that they have a terrible offense, but they don't have a left tackle. And they don't have a tight end. So it's like, I'd rather just give Darnold all the help he can get. You drafted all defense last year. You're going back to the defense. I'm not trying to shred the pick. It's just, I personally, I would have gone with Rashawn Slater and give Darnold like an actually good, like legitimately good offensive line in front of him. And now you're going to have like some serious questions with that blindside left tackle. So I don't know. It's fine. He'll be a good player for them, and Matt Rule will coach him up. He's a good scheme fit. So I don't want to shred the pick, but I would have been happier with Slater if I was a Panthers fan. So Patrick Surtain to the Broncos. I do like this pick. It's just a best player available pick. It's good for me. Like, I love Patrick Surtain, so I'm happy to see a guy like Vic Fangio, who's one of the smartest defensive minds in the league, put a premium on Patrick Surtain. And this was interesting because of what it did to Dallas with the next pick, honestly. But you've got Fuller in there. You've got I want to eventually get these guys right, but it's Roby, I think. No, Darby. Ronald Darby is coming in there. Roby, Darby, I get those guys mixed up constantly. But Fuller not going to be there forever. And Patrick Surtain, another thing I said on the live stream that I think they probably envision for Surtain is obviously that long-term number one corner here, but they play in a division with Darren Waller and Travis Kelce. Patrick Surtain is a guy that can match up those types of guys. So I think they see him as a guy who they'll play in the slot on those tight ends, or they'll play him out wide as the guy that covers Travis Kelce. Look out for that. He, in that division, I think it makes a lot of sense. You draft in a lot of times to win your division. Now, the only thing is here, are they going to regret not drafting Justin Fields? And my answer to that, I think, is probably yes, because I just don't believe in Drew Lock, and I think Justin Fields in this situation would do a better job. And it's just like one pick to take Justin Fields. That's just really difficult for me to pass up on. So, as much as I love Patrick Surtain, I'm going to give this a B, just because I think there's a good chance they regret sticking with Drew Lock, keeping Teddy as the backup there for why? Who cares? You get yourselves a damn quarterback, Denver. You had a chance. You had a real good chance. So, a little frustrating, but still a hell of a football player in Patrick Surtain. Devontae Smith for the Eagles here. I love this move. I had been mocking Devontae Smith to the Eagles at 6 a lot of the times. So you move down, you get a future first-round pick. You're probably going to need a quarterback in the future, so you load up on picks. But why not find out if that guy you picked in the second round can play some football? And why not get him a true first-read separator? I've talked about this in depth, but Jalen Hurts, he's got some good things about him, but he's got a serious flaw, and he is a true first-read quarterback. Like, seriously. Go back and watch, say, just all of his starts. They all work. First read's open, he'll hit it. He's great in that rhythm, but do not count on him to get through his progressions. If he doesn't like what he sees with that first read, he's going to take off and run. So get him the best first read separator in this class in Devontae Smith. Very, very nice pairing there. And if Jalen Hurts doesn't work out, which let's be honest, he probably isn't, you're going to have 3 first-round picks next year with Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, and pretty good offensive line. So I like this pick a lot. And to come up 2 spots, some people are like, you don't need to do that. You don't know who's looking to move up here. And I'm sure Dallas would have much rather traded down with someone else if there was a better offer available. So this was also interesting for Dallas, who we'll talk about at 12. But with those 2 corners going, I think it really sent them into a shuffle. I didn't think they thought on God's green planet that both Surtain and J.C. Horn were going to be gone. So I actually like kind of the composure to move down and reassess your board and make a smarter decision later, as opposed to potentially panicking here, and at least you get some draft capital back. So I like that move for both sides, really, and an interesting interdivision trade that you rarely see. So then the Chicago Bears, which I can imagine this has to be 90+%. Excellent pick. And I agree. This is an A pick. Really? God, the split on Justin Fields is crazy. How is that not consensus? For me, there's so many positive things to say here about the Bears. Now, you gave up I believe they gave up a future first-round pick to do this. But of course Ryan Pace did that. He needed to do something here. It's like the movie Draft Day. Make a splash, right? Well, it's not just that. Like, this roster's loaded, but that quarterback position, say what you want about Andy Dalton, they aren't going to win a Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. Now, probably not winning it with a rookie Justin Fields, but if he hits, we've seen what happens in year 2, teams with good rosters. A young quarterback comes in on that rookie contract, you're able to totally build around him. He's already got a great team in place. They're going to be in a potential position to go get a tackle for him and really support him. You do have Andy Dalton there, who I think can start the first, month of the season as you get Justin Fields up to speed if you need to, and you see if it works. Ryan Pace, and when they trade up, it's like, I don't think they're trading for Mac Jones because Ryan Pace isn't going to save his job by drafting Mac Jones. This is a save your job type of move. I think Ryan Pace gets a lot of crap. There's been some questionable moves in there, but for the most part, I think he's a pretty good drafter, far from the worst GM in the league. You could bang on him for the Jimmy Graham signing, which was really bad, but I think for the most part, he's a solid GM. It's just that quarterback thing's been such a big deal for them. And this was the first time the Bears made a move, I don't know, maybe ever, definitely since I've been alive. I was born in the early 90s, that they made a move where it's like, yeah, that was such a good move. And like everyone agrees. Now, I don't get what the 40% that don't think this is an A is all about, but compare this to like the Trubisky reaction, miles ahead of that. Now, I'll stand my ground. I think Fields is far from a perfect prospect. I do believe the first read stuff is a legitimate criticism that they will have to coach him up on. I think he's far from bust proof. I have not backed off of that stuff. I watch him against Indiana. I watch him against Northwestern. You can make all the excuses in the world. Nothing you tell me is going to change the fact that my eyeballs see him staring down first reads and really collapsing and not always knowing what to do when that rhythm of the offense breaks down. So he's not a perfect quarterback prospect, but this is definitely an A pick, well worth the risk. Then Micah Parsons for the Cowboys, definitely a fascinating pick, but to me they just went best player available. It had a mixed bag of opinions, but Leighton Vander Esch, yes, he's on the roster, but his contract's running out, and basically either he steps up and you have to pay him, in which the Cowboys have no money to pay another linebacker with Jalen Smith next to him, or he gets hurt again and you're like, okay, we can't keep leaning on this dude. So Micah Parsons, one way or another, is going to replace Leighton Vander Esch. Either he plays well and you won't be able to afford him, or he gets hurt again because he's got some serious back issues. He can also contribute as a pass rusher right away. This was a good job for Dallas, in my opinion. The board did not fall the way that they wanted it to, but I think they did a good job to react, move down, get some picks, and then just take the best player available. So you're not walking out of here like, oh my God, yes, we killed it, but I think they did a pretty good job, all things considered. So we're going to go with a B. Then the Chargers, Rashawn Slater, just for the sake of pacing, we're going to give this an A and move on. I mean, he was a top 10 prospect, and look out for the Chargers. Herbert needed an offensive line. He's got everything else. You give him Rashawn Slater. You give him first-team All-Pro Corey Linsley. Thanks, Brian Gutekunst. And Matt Filer, who's an underrated guard. Hopefully you get Brian Bulaga healthy. You potentially just added 4 high-quality starters on the offensive line. Yeah, look out for the Chargers next year, man. How is that not consensus high? This one was fascinating to me. The Jets trade up for Elijah Vera Tucker. I'm just going to be straight up, man. I don't think Elijah Vera Tucker is a top 20 player. I'm going to give this a C. You trade up to do this. Now, I thought they were going to go with Christian Darrisaw, and they went with Vera Tucker, who to me is a guard. And I don't know. I just don't get why you trade up for this player. If they took Darrisaw here, this would be an A. This is the first thing Joe Douglas has really done where I'm not like glowing about it. I think it's fine. He'll start. He'll be a really good blocker for them. And it's maybe like a C+, to be honest. But I'll just be honest. The NFL's higher in the sky than I am, and we'll see how it plays out, but I am grading this off of, my own evaluations. Then Mac Jones. I love this fit. I've really dove into this. I did this in my predictive mock draft, so if you need further analysis, you can go get that, but you don't even necessarily have to start Cam Newton, start Mac Jones, even though he could. I'm just trying to pause this video because copyright, But I think they can run that system with Cam Newton, and even though Mac Jones is pro-ready, it never hurts for a guy to develop. And it gives you just one pick to give you some sort of future at quarterback. I think Mac Jones was getting laughed at really just unnecessarily because there's all these great athletes in this class, but he is a true first-round quarterback prospect. I think he is neck and neck with what Tua was as a player last year. He's just in a better class, so to speak. So to just spend one pick when you had the free agency you did, it's a great pick. I'm going to give it an A. And then we got Zaven Collins to the Cardinals. So a lot of people predicted this, actually, but it surprised me. It took me a while to process this. It slowly growed on me the more I thought about it, because you look at him and you look at the Isaiah Simmons pick last year, and like, why are you doing this back-to-back years? Completely different positions. Simmons is going to be kind of that overhang, strong safety, outside linebacker type. Think kind of like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Zaven Collins is going to be a true Mike linebacker here. Hicks has a hard time staying healthy. They are a 3-4 team. So it made a lot more sense the more I thought about it. Really good zone instincts, going to be a day one impact. This one really grew on me. It just took me a long time because I hadn't really thought about linebacker for the Cardinals after they went there last year. They have Hicks there. But it did grow on me. So I'm actually going to give this like a B or so. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's not like my favorite pick in the draft, but I think he's an upgrade to that defense. And it's after more thought, it's not as redundant with the pieces they have as I maybe once thought. Now, Alex Leatherwood. I mean, come on, Gruden. This is a meme at this point. I mean, those of you that watch me on Twitch, how many times did we joke about what second or third round prospect that was a 4-year starter out of a big school, a Gruden grinder type, is John Gruden going to reach for in the first round? And we joked about Carmen and Leatherwood. Here you go, Alex Leatherwood. Not just that, not just dramatically reaching for Leatherwood, who's not a good pass protector. I do think he's a guard. It's just a reach. He could be a good football player for him, but to take him over Tevin Jenkins, who's just a massively upgraded version of Alex Leatherwood, does everything Leatherwood does, but better, and is a good pass protector. But you also passed on Christian Darrisaw, who's like a legitimate freak athlete with upside. They could slowly turn Leatherwood into a quality starter at tackle. Maybe 3 years from now, he's like the 20th best tackle in the league, because they do develop players somewhat well there. But this was just not the pick, and they continue to do this. Watch my rant on the Raiders from 2 months ago and tell me this isn't just more of the same. This was the worst pick in the first round, and it's frankly not particularly close. And people agree. Then we got the Dolphins. This one was fascinating. They take Jalen Phillips. I kind of like it. I do like that in a year where medicals were such a concern, the Dolphins were able to just go down the street and figure out this concussion thing with Jalen Phillips. That was an advantage they had, and this has a chance to be a significant advantage for them. They don't have anyone on that roster that's nearly close to being an alpha edge rusher. I also like, Flores has the Belichick, tree line. That tree line typically doesn't invest in edge like a true edge rusher, alpha type like Jalen Phillips. But Brian Flores is doing his own thing here, right? This is not just Belichick's defense. So I appreciate that about Flores. I'm excited to see him in this defense. I do like the pick. But again, who's playing right tackle here? You took Jalen Waddle. Who the heck is playing right tackle? They could maybe end up with Rayshawn Jenkins in the second round. We'll see. That'd be pretty nuts. But in a nutshell, in a vacuum, in a nutshell, whatever you want to say, good pick. Good pick. A little risky. Maybe in the B plus A minus range. I'm excited to see him. But maybe a TBD, if you will. Let's see. Can you get Cosme? Can you get Jenkins to make up for, Waddle and Phillips? If you end up with Jenkins or Cosme, I can really be excited about Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips. But if you don't upgrade that offensive line, I'm going to be a little worried. Then the football team took Jamin Davis. This was fascinating. A lot of people thought JOK. I thought JOK. I had heard a report that they liked JOK. That was clearly BS because they could have taken him. And they took a different linebacker. So just goes to show you some of these things you hear internally. It's just, you never know what you can trust. But the way I see this is they must have come down to this idea that Landon Collins is redundant with JOK. And I kind of agree. You got Cam Curl, who's going to be more of that safety, and that up top safety. You got Landon Collins that's going to be more in the box. And I just think they see Jamin Davis with more of the size as a true, real linebacker next to Cole Holcomb. And his athletic upside here is nuts, with one of the better linebacker coaches in the league as their head coach with Ron Rivera. So Jamin Davis, good pick. It was a little early, but he's your dude. Take him. I'm just not going to give a pick like this where I do think it was a little early. I'm not going to go so far as saying it was a reach, but I did find it fascinating that they took him over JOK. It was just, good, solid pick. I think he's going to be an excellent pro, and we might look back on this and be like, yeah, that was an A pick. They developed him super well. I love the landing spot. So, if you wanted to give it an A just because of the landing spot and projecting him to have a lot of success, I get it. I think it's a really good pick. Just process-wise, maybe, people agree. Good, solid, fair pick, but a little bit early, potentially. Then the Giants took Kadarius Toney. Keep in mind, this is after acquiring our future first-round pick from the Bears, which that could be a top 12 pick next year for the Giants, a team that might be looking for a new quarterback next year. We'll see. Potentially could be a team that has a couple top picks next year, depending on how the Bears play out. The Giants fan didn't like the Kadarius Toney pick. He gives you some juice in there as a playmaker in the receiving game, because you got Shepard, who's really good route runner, hands guy, but not a run after catch threat. You got Galladay, but he's not a short to intermediate option. He's just going to go deep. Then you got Darius Slayton, who's just kind of slants, go balls, hitches. Kadarius Toney gives you some explosiveness and juice on the inside, and I don't think giving Daniel Jones more playmakers that are going to take the load off of him. Daniel Jones can execute the offense, but he is always going to be a quarterback that really leans on guys playing well around him. And I do think they could use an offensive lineman still, but they might be able to get one in the second. They did sign Zach Fulton to start at right guard for next year. It's not an amazing pick, but I did like it more than I think Giants fans did. I'm also maybe a touch higher on Toney. He is my 6th receiver with the first to a second round grade, so it's about as early as I would have thought about him. But it does kind of remind me of the Brandon Ayuk pick last year, although maybe not in a system that is so well catered to that skill set of kind of just put the ball in his hands and let him go to work. So they're going to have to get creative there, but, somewhere in the C plus B minus range. I'm going to go B minus just because I did that on the live stream. But just, decent pick. Nothing crazy, but I will defend it as opposed to Giants fans that hated it. Kwity Paye to the Colts. This was an easy A, especially with, if they can get a Dylan Radins, or I was surprised that they didn't go with Darrisaw, but there might be something there with Darrisaw that we don't know from an off-field perspective, maybe medicals, I don't know. But day one impact at edge. And I actually mocked this in my predictive mock. We hit a few of these predictive mocks actually this year, which we hit more than we normally do. So good job with Kwity Paye to the Colts. Just outstanding fit. He's going to upgrade that defense. And I don't think he's ever going to be an elite player, but he's going to be a really good pro. I think he's going to be a 10-year veteran that makes 4 Pro Bowls and is just a constant impact player for them. And to get that at 21 is pretty good. Caleb Farley to the Titans. This was really fascinating. This is a team that had the worst pick of the draft last year in hindsight, right? They whiffed on the first round. So interesting to see them take maybe the most risky first round prospect from an injury perspective. But they feel good about it. And if they feel good about it, he has an opportunity to return incredible value. He could have been a top 10 a top 10 defensive player in this class, but the injury, the back stuff, it is scary. But they have major holes at receiver, major holes at tight end, the right tackle spot. I thought Christian Darrisaw in this system would have been incredible. You could have gotten Rashad Bateman. This is one of the most boom or bust picks of this draft, because if you can't get him on the field because of health, you're going to look back on this and regret it. If he stays healthy and plays well, you're not going to have any qualms. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a B. It's a team that playing with fire may or may not pay off. So I can't quite give that an A, but I do understand the process there. And Caleb Farley could be a total beast for them. Then you got Christian Darrisaw, quite possibly the best value in the entire draft. I mean, they trade down and get the guy that I didn't think they were going to get at 14. He is not just great value, but the scheme fit. He has the potential of, say, Trent Williams with the athleticism to run this wide zone offense. This is now not the best offensive line in the league. They still could use another guard, but it's getting there, and it's one of the most athletic. So this is a massive upgrade for this offense. The Vikings offense is going to be very dangerous next year, in my opinion. They were already dangerous last year. If Zimmer can just get that defense kind of reshaped, and they picked up, I don't know what they got, probably a second-round pick or the early third-rounder for the Jets would be my guess. They're going to have an option, a chance, rather, to, maybe get the defense back into top 10, top 15 shape. The Vikes and the Bears kind of closed the gap in the NFC North this night. Then the Steelers took Najee Harris. I've talked about this. I think there is room to take a running back in the first round when you don't really have a chance for a high upside offense, but you are trying to win. You don't have the money to pay a top running back, and your defense is stellar. Let's be honest. The Steelers aren't winning a Super Bowl by unleashing this offense with Big Ben on the league. No, they're going to win a Super Bowl by being tough, nasty, converting tough first downs, keeping the defense fresh. Najee Harris is the dude, the only running back in this class, in my opinion, and I feel very good about him doing. Javonte Williams maybe could have done it, but it's not a great running back class. There's no free agents to sign. I actually like this pick a lot. I think their chances of being a good playoff contending team that can try to scrap it out with a run game, a efficient short passing game, and an elite defense with crowd noise back. Najee Harris, I think, was always going to be the piece there. I mocked it every single mock draft, I'm pretty sure, along the way, and here we are. It happened. Then we got the Jags, Travis Etienne. I don't like this pick. Like I just said, there's a place and time for a running back, but honestly, with the team that just had the number one pick, who just used that pick on a quarterback who has a ton of holes on this roster, the first pick of a new regime is a first-round running back, it's just so bland. I gave it a C- on the live feed because he's a hell of a football player, and he could be Alvin Kamara for them. But, really? We're gonna go with the running back when you were the team that just rediscovered the truth that you can find a really good running back as an undrafted free agent who's really cheap for you and really productive. Travis Etienne's a really good football player. He's going to be really fun to watch for the Jags. But is he going to help you as much as a Tevin Jenkins would have helped you at right tackle? As much as, Christian Barmore is going to help the defense? As much as Greg Newsome on this corner group? Players that you just can't find later on? No, he's probably not. Even if he turns into Alvin Kamara, it's going to be tough. If some of those other defensive prospects also work out. So, like a C-. You get him back with Trevor. He's going to be explosive. It's not the end of the world, but really? That's the direction they're going to go with the first pick? I don't know. The whole Urban Meyer thing I'm not really buying in yet. I got to see what they do day 2, day 3. Cleveland Browns take Greg Newsome. I thought this was a great pick. Corner was a need for them, and Newsome is excellent value at 26. And you can never have enough great corners. If Greedy Williams works out, that's fantastic. But for a team that wants to win a Super Bowl this year, I don't think you want to count on Greedy. You can count on Greedy and Greg Newsome, one of these guys, to work out. And you sign the kid from the Rams. You got a great secondary there. You get your safeties back. Every time I mocked a different position for the Browns fans were like, take a look at that corner room. I wouldn't sleep on us taking a corner, and I definitely agree. So Greg Newsome, ultra quick. If he can stay healthy in the NFL, he's going to be a heck of a football player. Rashad Bateman, another pick that I mocked correctly. A pick. You guys can go visit what I said about this in my predictive mock draft as well if you want more, but ultimately, you guys have heard my point about as much as we'd all like to see the Ravens open up the offense, right? Get to outside the numbers, let Lamar throw vertical. It's just probably not going to happen. To be honest, I just don't think it's Lamar's strength. But beyond that, the Ravens aren't all that interested in it. They know Lamar is elite in the play action, short to intermediate, misdirection, passing game. And Rashad Bateman is the perfect fit. He is the type of receiver that they needed as a guy that will work the middle of the field. He'll block his ass off. He'll be a reliable contested catch option on third down. But not just that. He can beat press. He can get off the line quickly and separate as well. He's a phenomenal fit. I am glowing about this. This is an A. Wow. Just excellent pick. Peyton Turner to the Saints. I'm going to be honest, man. I had a third round grade on Peyton Turner. A lot of people that I respect really liked him. He's uber athletic. Just the consistency, the technique, just wasn't there for me. Part of it was just he was so underwhelming at the Senior Bowl as well. A guy like this, you'd expect to show up and just kick those guys' ass. And he just didn't. I get it. They see Cam Jordan here. You look at Peyton Turner, and I also see Cam Jordan. But I think it's a pretty good edge class. I don't think you needed to do this here, but I also think there's just better players available. So, I don't know, man. He could work out. They haven't exactly gotten Marcus Davenport up to his athletic potential. To me, this is a bad pick. I didn't really understand why they took him here. So, yeah, people agree. Some people thought it was a fair draft pick. Now we get Eric Stokes. This is just such a Packers pick, right? Just underwhelming. Like taking the athlete, hoping he works out. It's not the worst pick in the entire world, but you could have replaced your center options with Creed Humphrey, ideal scheme fit. You could have potentially established one of the best pass rushes in the league with a Christian Barmore. You could have taken a linebacker for the first time ever in JOK and had someone that can cover tight ends over the middle of the field, who will be a better cover player next year than Eric Stokes. You could have taken so many other plays. You could have gone receiver. Elijah Moore available. Terrace Marshall available. And on a day where Aaron Rodgers basically tells the Packers, I'm fucking done. I can't do this anymore. You don't draft well, and you never sign free agents. This is the first player added to the Packers. Think about that. A player that will have a difficult time as a rookie. His upside's great. Lengthy, long, fast, smart dude. But let's be honest, he's going to have a difficult time beating out Kevin King on the outside just because of the nature of the position. Cornerback position, a raw player like Eric Stokes, it's going to be very difficult for him to get starting playing time in normal nickel packages. So on a day where Aaron Rodgers tells you, I'm fucking done. You don't do anything for me. You never do. I need to get out of here. I need another ring before I retire. I'm too good for this organization. And he's right. You take a backup cornerback with upside. It's Kevin King all over again, but 5 years later. And I hope Eric Stokes becomes a better football player than that. And Gutekunst proved he knows a thing or two about corners when he took Jair Alexander. But he also took Josh Jackson in the second. So I don't know, man. I just don't know. I don't get it. It's like a C- pick. It was a need. They have a chance to make up for it, but there was so many better players. Tevin Jenkins, Sam Cosmi. I can go list is on. And Asante Samuel Jr. is the dream fit for this team and would have been a day one starter, would have been able to beat out Kevin King. I don't feel great about Eric Stokes doing that. To me, he was a second-round prospect. He wasn't even the best corner on his own team. That was Tyson Campbell, who was also available. Would have also probably beat out Kevin King. It's just, I'm giving it a D on here. It'd be like a D+. Super, super underwhelming draft pick. Gregory Rousseau to the Bills. I love this. This is one of my favorite fits in the draft. I think Gregory Rousseau is one of the most hated on, disrespected, slept on players in this class. I get it. He's young. He doesn't have a ton of technique. People always cry about his, he doesn't have quickness, his three-cone stank. This is DK Metcalf at edge all over again, except for some reason all of a sudden we care about the three-cone at this position. That's not his game. His game is not bending around the edge. You don't need to do that to be a very efficient, just good, power player in the league. He's going to be a phenomenal run defender. And here with Buffalo, where he can learn from Jerry Hughes and rotate with this depth here, this coaching staff, he'll be able to rush from the interior day one. Gregory Rousseau is wildly underrated. I love this pick. I'm going to give this an A. I think the value's phenomenal here. I have a true first-round grade on Gregory Rousseau. the hate on him had gone too far. He's going to be, I really believe in Gregory Rousseau. There's a boomer bust factor there, but this is kind of like the perfect piece for Buffalo, to be honest. Because he'll be able to contribute inside and out for that defense. Then we got Oweh to the Ravens. This really surprised me for a couple reasons. Number one, this is a team that is traditionally weighted at edge, so to see them go so early here was a bit of a surprise. Also, they usually like power rushers, and Jason Oweh, while he looks like he should play with power, I don't think is really much of a power rush, play style at all. He doesn't have a finesse rush play style at all either. He is a total project. I've said this before. I think he has as good of a chance working out at tight end as at edge, and maybe he can play some of those 3 tight end sets for the Ravens offense. I don't know. But that's just because he has so much work to do as a pass rusher. And I'm torn because if you said put Jason Oweh on any team in the NFL to best improve his ability to become, his potential as an elite pass rusher, I might say the Baltimore Ravens. There's very few teams in the league that I would want to develop a raw edge like this. So there is that side of me that's like, I believe he can work out here. But at the same time, I don't like Jason Oweh as a prospect. I just think at some point, you got to show me some sort of technique, some sort of production, some sort of something other than you ran a 4.36 40. So I'll give him a chance. I'm going to give it a C. You knew he was going to go in the first round. But to me, I would have gone Tevin Jenkins there. And then, I don't know, maybe trade it up for a Cam Sample or something in the 3rd round. But I don't know. It's fine. He has a good chance to work out and make me look dumb for giving it a C. But to me, he was always one of the most overrated players in the class. And it's the first time I've had a Ravens pick where I'm just kind of like, I don't know. We'll see. And then Joe Tryon of the Bucs. Excellent fit to round out the draft. Probably like an A- just because it's not. I mean, I do get excited about it, but I don't know if he's going to be like a freaking all-pro type of talent. He's not really a day one starter, but he's going to rotate in and out of there. It gives you long-term flexibility. I kind of had them go in this D-end edge spot all along, and he's definitely a good fit for this aggressive 3-4 defense. And, he did opt out of the final year. I wouldn't say he's raw, but he's definitely a guy that will benefit from having that sort of mentor, rotational backup role in year one. So I'll give it an A here. It's probably closer to like a 90, an A- than it is a A+, but I thought it was a great way for the Bucs to round out the first round just overall. So they don't show the recap here, but this was fun. This was a fun way to do it. Really good for me to kind of conserve my energy, be able to get to sleep before 2 a.m. hopefully, as opposed to 5 a.m. when I normally would finish. And we'll see you guys tonight for the 2nd and 3rd rounds. We're going to get to see some of these draft strategies really play out, especially with these next 20 picks or so that are very fascinating. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? How do you feel about your team's draft pick? Peace out, guys. And we'll see you later.